Hey, I'm Matt Sledge with the next CFO. I'm here with Natalie Quan, and appreciate you joining us today, Natalie. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to join us.
Well, thanks for inviting me. I'm looking forward to it. A little scared, but my first podcast, so
Oh wow! Well, we're glad we could get to your talents before anyone else could. So we've got the exclusive here. That's how we'll frame that. But before we get started, let's have a little. We'll throw some time on the clock and do a quick icebreaker, just rapid fire questions. So you ready to see what we can figure out about you that maybe not CFO related really quickly?
sure.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, time on the clock, and here we go. What's your favorite hobby?
Dancing.
Okay, nice, nice. And a shout out to the conversation with Josiah before. What's your favorite pizza topping?
Ooh, mushrooms.
Ooh,
I actually
nice,
don't like
nice.
meat on my pizza. I like all vegetarian.
Are you a vegetarian or is that
I
just
am
your
not a
pizza?
vegetarian, just on pizza for some reason.
Okay, that's a unique trait. I appreciate that. All right, favorite musician.
I don't have a favorite musician, more like genres, and then like I'll stick to a show. So like right now I'm listening to Teddy Swims radio.
Okay, he's doing a show at the new amphitheater they're building in one of the towns I lived in for a very long time, Birmingham, Alabama. So hope that goes really well for them. All right, what are you reading now, if anything?
I read on my off time. I read trashy romance novels, so I won't name the name, but yeah,
Okay. That's
just leave it
great.
at that.
No, that's great. That's great. And maybe it is dance or reading trashy novels, but what's your favorite way to unwind after work?
Either reading or actually working out. I teach a couple of fitness classes, so that's a good way to get me out of the house.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that is good. That is good. And finally, do you have a favorite sports team and is it from the Bay Area?
I do not have a favorite sports team, but if I had to, I'd say the Warriors, just so that my nephews will be proud of me. How's that?
Okay. I'll take that. I'll take that. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate you playing the game, Natalie, and we will hop into the actual exclusive interview with you for your first podcast. So thank you for joining us. But we wanted to have you on because, I met you at the CFO Leadership Conference, and you've had really, from what I understand, what I've researched on you, an incredible journey in finance from the San Francisco Ballet to now, you work directly with Cal CPA, you're, uh, their CFO. What first draw you to the nonprofit sector?
Yeah, so I started my career like any good CPA, right, in the audit or tax route. So I started in the audit route, and I really enjoyed that because auditors get to ask a lot of questions, and
Hmm.
CalCPA actually has like five values: community, trust, leadership, curiosity, and fun. Obviously, my favorite one is fun, but
All
curiosity
right.
is my next favorite one because I'm just always asking questions, and auditors get to ask a
Sure.
lot of questions. So I would ask like you had to ask a lot of whys, and what I found when I talked to my nonprofit clients was a lot of the whys on things wasn't so much to make the build a fast car or the best widget. It was because they wanted to serve the mission, they wanted to serve people, animals. They all had a great story of why they joined the nonprofit, and that really like
Hmm.
touched me a little bit more than again, a manufacturing place. Like I could relate to them more, and it was just really inspiring that people put their time and efforts into a nonprofit. So that led me to nonprofit auditing, and then I decided to go, into the ballet, not do ballet, but
Sure.
be more in the actual sector and be part of the mission. And then I went to Cal CPA.
That's awesome. I first have to say I appreciate that Cal CPA throws fun in there, because I don't think people appreciate enough how much fun accountants do like to have, especially after long audits or reporting periods. We are a fun group, so I appreciate that y'all throw that in there. And I see the Cal CPA does a lot of stuff just by looking at your LinkedIn. I think I saw I've gone to Giants games and different things like that. So if you were to maybe give a little plug for Cal CPA and people to get involved, if even not there, but just a local organization, what would you say has really been the benefit you've seen, not just for yourself, but maybe young professionals coming up?
I mean, any organization that promotes community and
Hmm.
networking and connections is really important. Cal CPA, a little biased, right? we promote a lot of that. And I also grew up through CalCPA, right? I started in college on a student level, went to the local boards, met a lot of people, and throughout my whole career, CalCPA has been always a constant for me. And I
Oh wow.
credit that a lot of it is, the networking people I met. And that's actually how I came to work at CalCPA. I was so involved for over 20 years now that I got to know a lot of the people. And when the CFO position opened up, the CEO actually called me personally, which surprised the
Oh
heck out
wow.
of me, and said, like, I have this position open.
That's
Would you like to
awesome.
come in? And I came into the offices, and the day I went in, there was a member meeting, and
Hmm.
one of a colleague of mine, Mike Ray, who I've known for over 20 years now, also was there. She walks in, she's like, Natalie's here for the CFO job. I'm like, well, great. If I don't
Yeah.
get it, it'll be really embarrassing next time I see Mike. But Mike's all like, oh, she'd be great. And I think that also, I mean, just the people they got to know me on a personal level.
Sure.
So it's just, I think it just makes it so important to make connections and do networking throughout your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that also I try and do a little professional social media stalking of the guests I have. Maybe I should come up with a better word for it than that. But I do see that you get involved and have given back. I think you even have mentored at San Jose State, which was your college, right? And so was that through Cal CPA or was that even before that? Was that as you were kind of incubating this whole process and kind of giving back and seeing the value in that?
That's just that was actually San Jose reaching out to alumni, and I felt it was important to give back, and it fits in my role also. But I also enjoyed my time at San Jose State, and I wanted to. And it was a women's, it's specifically women uh,
Yeah.
incubator program. So I also wanted to give back in that way. So I started, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, was virtual, like right after COVID, and then continued on. It's one of the things I look forward to every year. And now I've
Awesome.
started to go back more to speak at the classroom level also.
That's neat. That's neat. Do you keep in touch with any of the people you mentor? Has it been interesting to see them grow and develop through their career?
Yeah, I got to a few of them still, mostly through LinkedIn. Unfortunately, a lot of people leave the Bay Area after a bit. I love seeing that. That's the greatest thing about social media. One, for the ability that you can stalk people, Matt, but also so that so you can keep in touch with people. Our lives are
Yeah.
so busy, right? That sometimes the best way to catch up is through LinkedIn, see what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Technology is a tool. It's all about how you like to use it and how you do use it. Same thing with social media. Um, that's my little plug on that. But so all this nonprofit involvement you've done, and we'll touch on this more, but how has that influenced your approach as a financial leader, if at all?
I think it makes me, especially in the finance world, it's so easy for us to get bogged down into the numbers and looks like,
Hmm.
is there a profit or whatnot and the dollars and cents. But I think working with nonprofits and seeing more about the value behind it, the mission, gives me a
Hmm.
different lens to say, like, well, maybe this project, especially, this project's not going to be the greatest margin on us. Like, margins are important. We still have to break even and make money.
Yeah,
But, you have to look at the intent behind it. So there are some programs like the CalCP has an institute program, which we have a lot of, which we help the pipeline and financial literacy. There's not a lot of revenue tied to that right now, but that's so
sure.
important just in general for the future. People, even if they don't want to be CPAs or accountants or in the business world, should learn financial literacy. So we put our efforts there, and I know that has to be covered somewhere else, but it makes me think overall for the good of the organization or the mission versus just being in my little hole, which is so easy to do.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It feels like you're a little bit more in tune with the lifeblood of the company, and you're not just being the old bean counter and report card giver of financials. So that's really, I think that's got to be really enjoyable and rewarding in a way a lot of accountants don't really achieve. So that's great. Maybe we're inspiring some people to go more into nonprofit to get a little more meaningfulness out of the accounting and financial process they are pursuing. So I do have to ask as well, you're not only not only that's plenty as the CFO, but you're also engaged in boards and leadership forums like you've talked about. So how have those roles really complemented or influenced your work at Cal CPA or even just your career in general? And what value would you communicate those really carry for other potential up and coming CFO and financial professionals when they're maybe evaluating, should I do this? Is it worth my time?
Yeah, I definitely think it's always worth the time to go into a board, whether it's a nonprofit or another one, just so you get to see both sides, right? It's so easy to
Hmm.
get in your world and in your own head, and when you see the other side, you can answer questions better, you can anticipate them, provide value both ways, right? I remember it helps me remind myself when I'm on one side of the board table and answering my board members' questions, some of the questions they may ask, and I'm like, why are they asking me this? But I realize that they want to help. That's the most important thing. They're here because they're volunteering, they want to help. But also because they don't
Sure.
know the details like I know it, and they just truly are
Hmm.
trying to understand, and that helps me present better next time of what they may ask and whatnot. On the same side, when I'm on the other side of the board table, I'm asking questions to management. I have to check myself and be like, I don't need to know this answer really. I don't need to get in the weeds. I trust them, but I want to be able to structure my questions to be more strategic than like in the weeds because that's not what I'm there for. To be in the weeds is to help guide them if they need it and support them. So it just really
Yeah.
helps me see all around. It's always just a different perspective, and the more you can do that, the better you'll be off overall.
Yeah, it sounds like just getting that rounded perspective and then just building those people skills are huge from that both angles. So yeah, it sounds like that's been really powerful and great for you. So good stuff. I'd be, I'm very interested. You're a little bit the nonprofit side of things, the dance, the art side of things. That's really great, and not all so many CFOs you talk to, like you said, are manufacturing, technology, retail, this and that. So I'm a little curious. Can you share with us, how you got into uh, being involved with the ballet, and then also maybe being the treasurer of the Circus Center in San Francisco? Those aren't the most traditional. So did you go search those out, or did they, based on that nonprofit experience you continually built up, did it just naturally occur? And I know dance is also your hobby as well. So I'm just curious how the intersection of all those played a role.
Yeah, I got involved with the circus center because I was doing circus acrobatics as a
Oh,
hobby.
wow.
Yeah, so I had a trainer who worked at the center and brought me in. And I find that, yeah, I've been told before, like, I'm not necessarily the most traditional CPA or CFO, which
Okay.
I take as a
That's great,
compliment.
though.
I
I
like
don't
that.
think there is a traditional one?
I'm glad. There shouldn't be, right? Everyone
Yeah,
is their own. None of us should be traditional in terms of like the bean counter or whatnot.
absolutely.
But I love the difference of going from a day to day head in the numbers spreadsheets to going to a place where it's totally creative, very open and free, doing things that you don't think you would normally do. It helps you
Sure.
really connect with the mission. It's a very accepting community. People just love it. Like that's where the passion comes. Like in these art organizations, they love what they do.
Yeah.
And just before going to board meetings, I'd walk through the center and watch people do the trapeze classes, the flying trapeze, which I'm still actually too scared to do. But I encourage people to try it. But other
Yeah.
things like handstand, hand balancing, it's just amazing that what they can control with their
Yeah.
body, which is also a lot of what you do with your mind. So it's a good mental and physical break for me, and just inspiring. I love seeing those shows, and don't think I'll ever be in one, but
Don't count it out, you know. You
there's still
don't
time.
Yeah, still time. And yeah, I think if there's two things I think I'm hearing more and more that, the relationships, how much those have played a role in your career, whether it was at Cal CPA or those, people just recognizing, oh, she's involved with this and she also has the skill and talent. Let's bring her in. And then just the passion behind it. I love that. That's really great. And just you don't have to be a traditional bean counter to still be a great CPA. I love that message as well. So no, we're breaking down barriers here at the next CFO. So awesome. Well, you know, uh, as a CFO, and previously, obviously, leading up to that, what core skills, experiences do you feel were really pivotal to you being able to transition to CFO from being, maybe a controller or a VP of finance? What really do you think separated your skill set for you to be able to make that next jump up to CFO for maybe some of the aspiring CFOs out there listening today that are thinking, okay, I've learned all the accounting laws, skills I can possibly imagine. What do I have to do next? What can I do to really improve my chances? What do you think, or what do you feel maybe a couple of things were for you that really catapulted you to that next level?
I think a big part of it, I'll stick with still the networking theme. Like a lot of it
Hmm.
is technical is something that everyone can learn. That's so easy to do. I shouldn't say easy because it's not easy technical
Sure.
ability, but there's all the resources out there, all the education, all the things you can read, probably even YouTube videos on how to do a balance sheet. But
Yeah.
it's the connections that you make and the ability to know the right people in terms
Hmm.
of supporting you. Like you are not. I have no problems being like not the smartest person in the room. I know when I walk into the boardroom, I'm probably like not even close to the smartest people in the
I
room.
don't believe
But
that.
I know, but I know that I know these people who are smarter than me or can help me and help me
Sure.
answer questions. So a lot, I think it's a team that you build and the people you surround yourself with. So you have those trusted advisors in all the areas, like whether it's IT or insurance or just the soft skills you may need of how to be a better storyteller. All those things I think you learn it better by talking with people and learning from their mistakes and learning from their
Sure.
mentorship versus trying to watch a YouTube video on how to tell a story. Not everything will come naturally to you. So the more you talk to people, and even just networking doesn't come naturally for people. Like for me, it's really hard to do personally. But the
Yeah.
more I do it and go out there, I meet people, I get more confidence. I end up meeting you, and now here I am, which
Yeah.
is not something I would normally do. So it just every time you push yourself out of your comfort zone and say hi to that person you don't know, you learn something new about yourself, and you get something from them. And overall, I think that just builds. That's kind of the baseline to build all your social skills and your soft skills.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you made a really good point is not being able to afraid or not being afraid to surround yourself with the smartest people possible, even if there's a chance they might be smarter than you. I don't think that happens often to you, Natalie, as often as you might want to let on. But I think that's really big because then you build the strongest team. There's more people from you for you to learn really great things from. And I think dropping that ego and allowing that to happen really can help you develop in a strong way. So I think that's a really great point you brought up. Um, so appreciate that. We met at the CFO Leadership Conference in Dallas, and at that time, I'm just going to put it out there, I was really looking for female CFOs. I hadn't had any. Appreciate you coming on and filling that representation. But, given your involvement with women's leadership forums, my goal to have you on to represent that voice to a degree. What advice would you offer specifically to women aspiring to be executive finance roles or positions to attain that?
I'm gonna, I don't know, is it doubling down or tripling down? I don't even know if you can do that in betting, but I still, it's the people you meet and going to the events. Like
Sure.
CalCPA, another small plug for them, right? We put on
Yeah,
something called the
go
Women's
ahead.
Leadership Forum every year, and I've been on that committee for years. Up for over, I'm not on it now, but I've been involved for over 10 years, even before I joined CalCPA. And it's such a
Hmm.
great event where it gives opportunities for a lot of the inspiring women out there to be around other people who have paved the road ahead of them. And you get
Yeah.
to be, I don't know if I can say the word like badass, but you can be with all these badass women on the
No,
stage. You hear the
yeah.
inspiring stories from them, the
Hmm.
challenges they went through, you meet them. Not to say that there's not a lot of great mentorship out there who are also male. Like one of my best mentors was a IT director at CalCPA who taught me the value of connecting with all the departments and how to forge your relationships.
Hmm.
But there's something about being in a room with your peers who you know are still trying to make or who've led the way for you, that you hear their
Yeah.
stories, and it helps that you be more yourself and find the people you want to be with. There was one manager I remember meeting there. It's a 2 day conference, and she was so inspired the first day. Like the next day, she had like two outfits picked out, and she ended up wearing one that was short sleeve because she has like a beautiful tattoo sleeve on her arm. But she
Yeah.
didn't feel comfortable in a professional environment. But after talking and hearing that and seeing the women on stage actually also having tattoos, she's like, I'm good. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to just keep finding myself and asking the questions and just being brave and being vulnerable about that. And I think that really helps. So I think, you know, don't worry about measuring yourself up to the other counterparts or whatnot. Just meet the people that are going to help you and give you the confidence, and then I think you'll just find your way and find your voice.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I don't want to right after I ask you about, the advice for women in finance and that insight mansplain something, but I do think from my perspective, I really like how the point, whether you're a woman, man, young professional, if you aren't finding the people that you can relate to or that really provide you that inspiration, I think spaces like Cal CPA, the CFO Leadership Conference, or any other CPA accounting professional organization can really help you maybe reach out and find those people that might not just be within your organization. Because the more I've grown, and maybe you could attest to this as well, the more you travel through your professional career, the more people you meet, the more companies you work for, the more you realize the one spot you're in is such a small blip in the overall great community. So it really does help. Let's say you are a young female professional and you don't find any other women like you, these professional organizations, I think, are probably a great outlet. So I think that's a great point you made. So appreciate that. So awesome. Well, it's the hot topic on everybody's mind, is AI, but leveraging technology in general is just an important part of business right now. And so I'm curious your take, especially from a nonprofit, and even not a nonprofit, but you have a very unique view there on how you can leverage these emerging technologies to enhance financial oversight and member services or any other area of the business. And maybe disclosures, because I'm sure nonprofits have a lot of things they have to disclose that maybe a traditional company doesn't.
Yeah, I definitely think all companies should embrace technology, right? If you're not embracing it, you're going to fall behind. And I also understand that a lot of companies, non finance teams, probably get the short end of the budget because there's so
Mhm.
many other areas you could put your money to, and especially when it
Yeah,
comes to nonprofits, right? People want to put money towards the mission first, and they tend to forget about the back room. But the data that the back room, the finance teams pull out is so important to help make decisions. It provides transparency. Nonprofits are essentially public companies, right? They're owned by the people out there who want to contribute money and donate and share.
yeah.
So they want to make sure that the money is secure, it's safe, there's
Mhm.
transparency, the data is good, and all of that. If that's there, it can help the mission better, and that's what the true point of a nonprofit is. So I would definitely encourage finance teams, nonprofit budgets to allocate funds to those for anything from a budgeting software that makes it easier to look forward and forecast and know where you're going. And a lot of the softwares now can include even those metrics of people served. You can multipliers on that, so you can really see how a change in your initiatives will help serve X more homeless people or X more dogs and whatnot. I'm a big animal lover, so I gravitate towards like saving the
Okay.
dogs and cats. It's so important overall.
Yeah.
Technology is there not to take over, as some people are scared of, but really to enhance and take away all
Sure.
that mundane work that we do and allow companies and the finance teams to provide more value add and be more strategic instead of spending all their time inputting data or tying out figures.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there does Cal CPA or any of the businesses you work with have like an initiative or thought that they kind of project out on AI in particular or any technology?
Yeah, we embrace it. We're looking into the different options internally for our team. I think we just I know we did, implemented Copilot and doing trainings for all of our staff. We encourage the staff to be
Yeah.
like, yeah, feel free to use ChatGPT or the other ones to help you out. Don't forget the fact check. It's still pretty new, so
Yeah.
don't put it out there without some checking. But we encourage that. We have a team besides our IT team of staff who aren't part of the IT team but really love technology that works with ways to make it better for us internally, and whatever we do internally we like to push to our members also and keep everyone up to date. We have a lot of webcasts on that also. I mean, it is a hot topic, and it crosses not just public accountants but all finance groups, and with them being up and going with our students right as they talk about the
Yeah.
latest and greatest. We want to know what they're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's young people are coming up being taught with it as a tool, so you got to be expecting them to be ready to use it, both as employers and organizations. So, yeah, nice. Thanks for sharing. And I've got to ask, you said you're a dog and cat, but do you have dogs and cats? And if you do, any particular breed or
Yeah,
that you
I
prefer?
have yeah, I have dachshund, and then I have a dachshund
Okay,
rescue. I do dachshund fostering, so I am particular to that breed. So if anybody wants a dog, I have one to give
that's
away.
great.
One I keep, one I'm fostering. So if anytime you're looking for a little short, long-haired, long dog, I have the line on that.
Go rescue a dachshund first. But what is one skill or quality you think is indispensable for any CFO over the next decade? And it doesn't have to be AI or technology, even though we just led in with that. But yeah, would be love to know what you think on that.
I think I think adaptability is one skill that CFOs should have, and a lot of them having
Hmm.
it even more now. And it might be not something you would think right off the top of your head when you think about CFOs.
Hmm.
Like again, the old traditional way was like, this is one way to do it. Or the CFO knows or whatnot, and very rigid. But CFOs have the access to so much information,
Yeah,
and almost every initiative OKRs in a company is going to at some point cross the finance table, the desk, right? You need the money or you
yeah,
bring in the money. So the CFO has a lot of insight on that, and they can make those connections and be in the different meetings, and that means that they have to wear different hats. Like one day they might be in the meeting about IT needs, and then not even one day, like an hour later, talking about the marketing, about strategy and whatnot. And that's a good way to see the big picture, connect the dots,
yeah,
but also just have a different view on everything and be adaptable and see where technology might need it or where another team can help and how you can help also. It's not just about the numbers anymore. It's you actually learn a
yeah,
little bit from every department. A lot of CFOs are now becoming, COOs at the same time or CEOs because
hmm,
they're getting that exposure. And now they have
yeah.
that financial background, which is really important too.
Yeah. And on that point, I always love to hear how CFOs, kind of developed and figured out how to work with their CEOs or how maybe their CEOs have inspired them. But how, when you first got into the CFO role, how did that, was that new to you or had you had some training on, direct relationships with the CEO to that point? How did that feel when you got into it? And what did you have to learn about how to communicate to maybe a CEO versus previously maybe communicating up to a CFO? What was the transition there and the differences?
A lot of the transition was remembering that not everyone understands the technical way,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
making sure I don't repeat myself and try to say like keywords that to me is very comfortable, but not so much for
Hmm.
the CEO or for other
Yeah.
people outside. I mean, I do work for a CPA association, so a lot of it was easily transferable at least, but there are some things where they're like, can you just repeat that in a different manner? And that
Yeah.
was, harder for me to do in the beginning because I was very in the day to day and the numbers and the technical and changing that view and also seeing what they're seeing because the CEO has even more insight and the really,
Sure.
really big picture. And there's that balance of trying to help them execute and also sometimes being the voice of like, well, maybe not this year, which is hard to say to your boss,
Yeah.
right? But if
Yeah.
I say yes to everything, then at some point I'm going to run out of money too, probably.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, and I think a lot of that goes back to, I think what you touched on before, a lot of accountants and finance professionals think if I just learn the hard skills, that'll be enough. But I think as you go up, those more nuanced conversations, you really have to have those soft skills. And that's something I've heard repetitively from you today and other CFOs is really the difference between a great accountant and one that's at a CFO level is the soft skills, the ability to communicate, really become a business partner. So it's great to hear that reinforced by you as well. All
I'm
right.
glad I can reinforce that.
So finally, any last advice you might give young finance professionals who aspire to become a leader in the nonprofit sector, or maybe not the nonprofit sector?
I would I would recommend finding something that you enjoy, right? If you especially if you want to go in the nonprofit, something you feel connected to,
Hmm.
something that resonates with you, even if it's not nonprofits and you just really like, cars, find a job in in the car industry. It really helps you, get up in the morning because you're excited about it, and then take the opportunity when if you whatever sector you're in to take that break and walk the floors, meet the people, get out of your bubble. I know for some it's not easy, but the more you
Yeah.
understand every little part of the organization, the more you can make better decisions, get better advice because you see everything. You're not in a silo anymore. And definitely for
Yeah.
nonprofits, right? Don't get stuck in the numbers. That you're there for a reason. Meet the people that you're working with. I love meeting the members. You probably saw my on my LinkedIn, right? I go I try to go to member events and whatnot and
Yeah.
connect with the people who are my peers and so I can better understand how we can support them. If you're working for a nonprofit that saves the puppies and kitties, go and take a break, and that's one of the advantages. You can go and pet one of them, right, and take them for a walk and take advantage of that. I mean, it's so important to just have fun. I mean, again, fun is something, I encourage. If you're not having fun at some point in your day, at some point in your job, and laughing, then you may want to find another job, honestly. Like, you
Yeah.
enjoy what you do. We work a lot of hours, and just in general, life is
Yeah.
a lot of work. So if it's not fun, I don't like to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say, I'll plug it for you. Go out and join these societies like Cal CPA, and meet new people and meet how people are doing it. Natalie, you brought a great perspective, and non-traditional maybe personality, which I love. We're breaking the mold of people thinking we're all bean counters and don't go out and have fun or do anything. But these organizations really will help you, network, learn how to communicate. Those soft skills, you can learn them at these events. So yeah, really, really encourage you. And before we leave, Natalie, do you want to give a plug to any of the organizations you work for, other than I think we've established, go adopt a puppy, maybe a cat too, support your local ballet. If you have a circus organization as well, go support them. But anything else you want to plug before we drop off today?
I would just, I mean, Cal CPA is obviously near and dear to my heart.
Hmm.
CFO leadership. I love being part of that community. Also, I
Yep.
take advantage a lot. I ask a lot of questions. That's how I get to, that's, people recognize me at the conferences because they see my name so often in the, in the emails about the community about asking questions. I'm not shy about saying, I don't know how to do this. Can someone help me? Um,
Yeah.
and just, yeah, support the arts organizations or support anything that's true to your heart. Just give back a
Yeah.
little bit. Even if you gave like $10 a month or even a year, that's more than what they had before that. So either
Well,
money or time, just give back is always what I would,
yeah.
encourage.
And that's what I was going to say, especially with the holidays coming up. Maybe you have a lot of student loans. You're a really young, aspiring CFO. Time is just as valuable as money, so get out there and give. We're taking on a little bit of a charitable theme as we go into the end of the year with the next CFO, but I don't think that's a bad thing. So, Natalie, I've got to thank you for coming on today. I really appreciate it. I think I hit you out of the blue at the CFO leadership in Dallas, and you were really a great sport about it. And I'm glad that we could have the exclusive first podcast interview with you. Maybe next time we are in the Bay Area, we can get you into the studio or into the office, the Planful office, or maybe me and Josiah can come to one of your classes or something like that. We're an active group here at Planful, so we'll see what it's all about. But Natalie, thanks again, and appreciate your time.
Thank you, Matthew.